Mr. President, thank you for joining us. I know the security situation is very sensitive. There were massive bombings in Kyiv just around the time of this interview. What can you tell us?
Good afternoon, Chris. As for today, there are no surprises. Russian aggression is still continuing. There were 34 strikes with our Iranian drone on the electrical grid of our country, as well as the capital, Kyiv, and the Kyiv region. The electrical crews are still working on those issues. In general, I could say that something like this is happening on a daily basis. Russian artillery is striking Kherson. Right after we deoccupied the region, they kept striking. They pushed back to the other side of the bank river Dnipro, and that's when they started to strike Kherson again. Over there are dozens of killed every day. Unfortunately, this is the ongoing tragedy. Missile strikes on the electrical grid or Iranian drones that are used by Russians using constantly, that they agreed to supply 1,700 to 2,000 Iranian drones. As of yesterday, they delivered 250 drones.
How important are the U.S. Patriot missiles in defending against these attacks? And what do you understand about how soon they will get to you?
Thank you for the question. As you know, first of all, I would like to say thanks for the NASAMS air defense system from the United States. I also want to thank our partners, German partners, and French. The German IRIS-T defense systems, and thanks to the French Crotal system that we received recently. All of those systems are working pretty well. Of course, the Patriot system is the most effective. Those are the best ones. We're working on this. We talked to the President Biden. We're working through this issue. Everything is complicated. However, I know that both of our countries are working closely so that the Ukraine has a chance to have one of the most powerful and modern air defense systems. And that is why we're working on that. I think that we will come to the desired outcome because Patriots, looking at their capabilities, they would really help us out.
Do you have any sense of timing?
You know that every day we're fighting against Russian missile and drone strikes. And I would say honestly that we would like to have received them yesterday. Maybe even the day before yesterday. But it would be best not to have those strikes at all, to have prevented them in the first place. But today we believe the sooner the better. We're working just on that. I am thinking that the President Biden and I can come to the resolution on this.
I heard you say this summer that you're very grateful for the help, but that you can't fly with just one wing. And that one wing is nice, but you can't fly with just one wing. You need two wings. You need everything that will help you beat the Russians. Are you still flying with just one wing?
It is difficult for me to answer this question. As you know, it's much like our passenger aircraft called Dream, the biggest in the world. And the very name of the aircraft is a dream. We're flying and we're believing in our country, our homeland, and our troops. However, there are not enough wings against Russia. What can I say? We're flying with what we have and using those weapons that we have. You're asking, figuratively speaking, flying with one wing. Sometimes, in a difficult situation, there are no wings. But we had a dream initially. A dream to fight for our freedom, for democracy, for our values, for our children. And that is why, even without wings, we will fight the Russian aggression and try to stop them. But of course, it is better for the victory to have wings. That's how it is.
Do you still believe that Ukraine is only the first, and that people who think they are safe right now may not be if Ukraine does not win this war?
This is whether you think Ukraine would not withstand Russia's pressure and that after Ukraine, they will go after other countries? We're like a fortress, a wall on Russia's way. They're ambitious people, but I cannot call them human beings, to be honest. forgive me, and your audience, please forgive me. But what they're doing to our people, this is not humane. That is why I'm sure that Europe is dependent on how strong we are. The world is very fragile, and Russia's president, his wishes are very ambitious. But as long as Ukraine is holding up, the world is safe. I'm sure that in their ambitions, they see Moldova and other countries of the former Soviet Union. And I'm sure Poland, Romania, and other countries where the Soviets were predominant.
Please explain to my audience why Ukraine will not attack inside the Russian border, even though you are being attacked by Russia.
We're not interested in making strikes inside Russian territory. Here you have to understand the situation clearly. We're defending ourselves. We're not offensive against Russia. We're only offensive against them on our territory. We're occupying our territories according to the international law. According to our borders, this war today is on our territory only. And Donbass and Crimea, they are Ukraine. We're fighting for what is ours. I don't see our troops being on Russian territory. It never happened once. Beginning from the year of our independence, 1991, and that is why Russia is an occupier. We're fighting only for what is ours. What's here to explain? We're not interested. We do not want the land of others. We just need our land, because this is great responsibility for the people, for the quality of their lives, for the development of the society, for the rebuilding of the cities, etc. We're satisfied, sufficient with our territory, because Ukraine is the largest country territory-wise on the European continent. We have stuff to do.
What did this mean to you, to be the Time Magazine Person of the Year, and inside they say that you, as the choice for Person of the Year, was the most clear-cut in memory, meaning that you were an easier choice than they've had to make in other years.
And it also tells us that we were seen, that Ukraine is being respected. It tells that we really wanted to be heard in the fight for the freedom. It tells us that Americans are supporting Ukraine, supporting our fight. And this magazine cover is not my face, but the face of the Ukrainian people. It's about the nation, about its strength, about ordinary people, civilians. This is the face of the Ukrainian people today. Civilians, armed forces, ordinary people, children, all of us, we're the people of Ukraine. That we're not alone in this war. I'm happy that we're not alone. The journalists of that magazine, they also support us and recognize us. We're just not recognized by Russia. That's okay. We can deal with that.
One thing I didn't like about the article, it makes it seem like the Ukraine war has already happened, as if it's in the past and not something that is very real now, and that the greatest dangers remain ahead. What do you want people to know about how much is still at risk?
And I will answer in English if I can. So it's really, I mean, that is my message, straight message. It's really a big mistake to think that this war is over. That is a big mistake, because still our soldiers, I think great people, our soldiers, people who work in electricity industry, who are against each day, against Iranian drones, and lose their lives. I mean that all these people still will lose our people, still will lose our Ukrainians, different people, soldiers, and not only soldiers. I mean, that you can't say that the war is over because Russia, because the Kremlin and their president. He always wants to come back, come back because his ambitious plan. I don't think that is healthy plan. Yes. So, but anyway, so we have to be strong. We can't be strong without the world. We can't be strong without United States, especially society. Of course, President Biden, Congress, two parties, they support us, and thank you so much. But anyway, without Americans, just ordinary people, without their understanding what's going on in Ukraine, we will not win. It will be very difficult. It will be too long. And in a very long way, in a very long war, it's always very difficult to find who is the winner when you lose each day people. Understand? So we want peace. And that's why we are fighting for our houses, our children, our families. That's it. So people have to understand. If they really want to understand what's going on in Ukraine, please come and see. We still fight, and it's still difficult for us, but we are staying strong. Really, we want to win because we want peace. It's not just to win because somebody wants to win. It's not, like World Cup. Yes, like it was yesterday. Yes, so it's another thing. So we want to win just for the peace. So we fight for the peace, not for the war. It's two different emotions. What have Kremlin, yes, and Russian political leaders, and what want we? That's it.
I understand, and I appreciate you communicating it in English. It will matter to the audience. And your English is very good, by the way. I don't know why you don't use it more. But that's your choice.
Я розумію.
Not so good as yours. That's why I don't use it so often.
It's much better than my Ukrainian. Are you worried? Are you worried that when the Republicans take over in the United States Congress, Ukraine may not receive the same support it is getting now?
Of course, of course, everybody in Ukraine worries about it. Yes, because we need support. But I think politics is the politics, and war for freedom. That is the war for freedom. That's why in different cases, and it's not about elections. It's something another. I think more important, more ambitious, more important for next generations. So we can't, speak politically about the war in Ukraine. You can do it during the elections, but now everything is over. I think, and I really believe that Ukraine will have by two parties support, and for us it's very important. And I think Republicans will support us as guys from Democratic Party. I really believe.
What is your biggest fear?
It's hard to say right now. It's hard to tell when there is war. You change your attitude to everything. In reality, things you were afraid of before, right now, no longer scare you. There are different priorities right now. What is the bigger fear or less of a fear? Probably depends whether you have war going on in your country. And today, my biggest fear is not to see my kids. Probably that's what it is. I think even during a peaceful time, it's the biggest fear for people, but they just don't think about it like that. But when there is war and you have strikes and explosions, you had tonight. I think every Ukrainian, I'm no exception, you have to wake up and stand up and make sure your kids are safe. I think this is the main priority, family. I think so. For me, as being a president, there are two sides to my life. One remains with my family, and the other half is connected with my job and today's professional position. And that is why there is fear of losing everything, what we've gained for our country. That's why, not to lose this war for independence, so many people have given their lives. Then for what? For nothing? This is impossible. Totally impossible. For me as a president, it sounds horrible. And I believe that we will win. The victory, the whole world, the entire world needs our victory. But it's also necessary for those parents that lost their children, for those women that have been waiting for their husbands and never saw them again, for those children that were saying goodbye when their dad was leaving for war and unfortunately never came back. This victory is for them. Very important.
Do you see an end to the war in sight?
Of course, I'm confident. If we're consistent, strong, and even if there are moments of stagnations and pauses in the war, I'm confident. If we're tough, we will be moving forward, believe in our victory. And I think Russian leaders, troops, military contractors, they would not be able to handle it. It is essential that Ukraine has world support. That's very important.
What do you want for Hanukkah?
No, Hanukkah has the same meaning. For Ukrainians, it means victory, the victory of the light over darkness. And that is why I wish victory for Ukraine, for the light to win over darkness. That is the essence for our fight.
When you're dealing with all this loss of power, the Festival of Lights has even more meaning. I look forward to meeting you again in Kyiv. I absolutely want to return to the country and show the American people that the fight is still on and that Ukraine is fighting for what we value in America. I wish you good luck, Mr. President. I wish you and your family and the whole Ukrainian family good luck and safety. Thank you for taking this time. Happy Hanukkah. Best to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you that you've been in Ukraine and you saw with your eyes everything what's going on in Ukraine. And thank you. That is one of very important formats of supporting, to be, to see, and then to inform people, just to say the truth. Thank you so much, and I wish you good luck. And again, thanks, Americans, for your support, and good luck.
I will see you soon.
See you, of course. Bye-bye.